Hey, Curtis.
Hey, Oz.
What do you got for us this week?
This week, we've got Dumb and Dumber crossed with the Big Lebowski with a little bit of Witness and a whole lot of Hook. This week, we got 1996's Kingpin.
The Lebowski didn't surprise me.
Yeah.
I mean, there's very few bowling movies.
Yes. I'd really... Yeah.
But Hook, I didn't see Hook coming. Of course, Witness with the Amish. Like, I get it. That was nice. Nicely done. I'd go to that
Thank you. I'll take the rest of the show off.
Oh, fair enough.
Yeah.
So,
I'll see you, folks.
Well, welcome back to Let's Talk About Flicks, the weekly podcast where we take a monthly theme and go back and forth bringing movies to satisfy the theme. I'm one of your hosts, Oz.
I'm Curtis.
And we are here to discuss, like you said, 1996's Kingpin. Before we get to the characters and plot and all the other festivities we have to roll out, I do want to give a shout out to Patreon subscribers Don S. and Melissa L. Thank you, because without your patronage, we would be able to shorten our show by about 30 seconds.
Heaven forbid.
Thank you. So that's what your money buys. That's the digital real estate that you have been you've staked out month after month.
Nobody can take that away from you, Don S. and Melissa L.
Except yourselves. But no, all jokes aside, thank you for your patronage. And if you would like to participate in the contribution to the show and see your fancy little name show up down below, you can hit up the link down in the description, patreon.com, and throw a few bucks our way each month. It's greatly appreciated. Kingpin, week 4. We're 4 of this already.
I know. We're getting through this month fast. I
know. Episode 43, Kingpin. And now that school is starting up, I feel like these are just going to whiz by. Like,
yes.
It was, I texted you last night, when do you want to record? And based on when you decided, was like, I hadn't watched the movie yet. I'm like, I better get after it. So I, thankfully though, I set my alarm this morning in the shape of a giant white dog that at 10 to 5 decided it's time to get up and watch Kingpin, Dad.
There you go.
So after his breakfast, I sat down and watched Kingpin while I paid some bills. So thanks again to our Patreon subscribers, Don S. and It gave me the ability to pay the bills.
You're literally keeping the gas on.
So Kingpin, again, plot's coming up, and this is your week. So it's
my week for plot, your week for characters, my friend.
And I've got 4, really 4 that matter.
That's all you need.
That's all you need. We start with Roy Munson, played by Woody Harrelson. The 1979, what state was it?
Iowa.
Did it ever? Iowa.
Yeah, it was
That's
Iowa.
The Iowa State bowling champion from 1979, the Disco Inferno himself, Roy Munson.
I love how he walks into that bowling alley and just takes a bite of that guy's pizza.
I know, I do too. I love how he walks in the bowling alley and everybody's already there waiting for him.
Yeah.
Like, I think it's a surprise party he was in on. Next on our character list is Randy Quaid playing Ishmael, the naive but talented bowler of the Amish community. Third on our list, I'm gonna shout out Claudia first. Third on our list is Vanessa Angel playing Claudia, the female interest of the film. She really doesn't even show up till second half.
Yeah,
easily. Yeah. And so, but she's there. She's all over the poster. She's all there in her tight clothing, and you see every curve.
She is.
It's just unfortunate that those narrow birthing hips aren't going to allow her before.
6 or 7 kids. Jokes on her.
Right? And so, but no, she does a fine job. She just kind of like faded off into obscurity. And then last but certainly not least, we've got the man himself, Big Ern McCracken, played by pretty much scriptless Bill Murray.
Yep.
He's been given in this scene we're going to do this, and I'm sure you read the trivia too that he'd read the script to get a general idea and then toss it out and just do it better.
Yes.
I think the movie. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, love Bill Murray in this.
I think this movie would be funny anyway, but Bill Murray it's his movie. You can't even say he steals it because it's his.
Yeah,
and they know that
I can't wait till the third
he's really
act,
in it. Yeah, he's in it. He's in Act 1 and he's in Act 3, and the rest of it is basically a journey to get from Big Ern McCracken back to Big Ern McCracken.
Because it's a 90s Farrelly Brothers movie, so you have to have a road trip.
Yeah, there's a road trip in there. And a pretty sweet soundtrack, I should say.
Yeah, it does have a really good soundtrack.
Yeah, it does have a solid soundtrack. So that's really it for characters. There's a bunch of fringe people that they meet along the way. That's neither here nor there. But those are the 4 you need to worry about. And they know it because they put them all on the cover of the poster and the DVD. And so there you go. There's your characters. Take us on a journey to Reno, Nevada.
Let's go on a journey from Iowa to Philly to Reno.
That's right, Iowa to Philly to Reno, Nevada.
So we open on a small town in, I think, kind of like late 60s Iowa. There's a son and a father, and they're enjoying some son and father time. And Dad says, "You know what, son? Let's go out back. Let's toss the ball around." So they go back there, and they have a homemade bowling alley in the backyard.
Yep. Sweeter than Yoo-Hoo.
Sweeter than Yoo-Hoo. Dad tells his son, if you apply everything to your life you learn from bowling, you'll be decent, moral, and a good man.
I think that's what everyone strives to have a pretty decent life.
Yep. And that's about as decent as Roy's life is right there. Cut to 10 minutes later, and we cut to him in high school, walking into the bowling alley, to Disco Inferno, the aforementioned party that Oz mentioned before.
Yeah, Woody Harrelson doesn't convincingly pull off high school age very well, but because this is a comedy, whatever.
But it works.
That's what's
enough,
funny about it. Yeah. Woody Harrelson pulls off being a high school kid about as well as John C. Reilly pulled off being 13 or whatever it was.
It's me, 13-year-old Dewey.
That's my 12-year-old girlfriend.
Oh, it's our requisite weekly Dewey Cox reference.
No, we gotta have it. Have it.
Roy does the splits after he throws. He's a local celebrity, Oz. He's the talk of the town. He's the state champion. So he goes on the pro bowling tour where he runs into another professional bowler, Big Ern McCracken. And they
Jerry Curl Big Ern McCracken at this point. Like he's got a perm. He's yet to perfect the hairdo of later in the movie.
So they first encounter each other at a bowling at a tournament, and Roy beats him, much to Big Ern's chagrin. Ern is trying to distract him, like talking while he's bowling and things. I like the little sequence where it shows Roy kind of squaring up a shot, and you hear it like a play-by-play guy talking.
Yeah,
and you think it's like somebody calling it
exactly.
But the camera widens out, and it's just Ern in his ear, just talking.
It's like sitting there right next to him in the lane next
like
over.
doing play-by-play. Yeah.
Oh, was that out loud?
Oh, sorry. Good luck as he's just about to release his ball. So the next day, it's highly speculated that Big Ern put sugar in the gas tank, although Roy does not know that because Roy's car is not starting and has $2,000 worth of damage to it. They catch breakfast, Oz.
And this is certainly we obviously don't see each other in person as much as we would like to.
Yes,
but I think this probably is top 5 quotes that we've said to one another pretty much whenever we're out eating anything.
Yeah, at any time we're consuming food in public.
It's supplemental income.
extra income. So as Roy is eating like his oatmeal and talking with his mouth full.
Yeah.
He's
a high school boy.
Yeah, and Big Ern is just disgusted. And Roy's pretty naive too. Yeah, he's kind of wide-eyed and so Ern's trying to convince him basically we got to con some people. We got to earn some supplemental income. And the server comes by and, hey, darling, why don't you go in the back and wash off that perfume?
Yeah. Before he sends Roy outside to finish his breakfast.
Exactly. Yeah, why don't you go finish that outside?
and then one of my favorite little bits of this movie, and there's so many of them, is when he starts hitting on the women at the table next door.
Yeah.
Hey, you.
Hey.
One lady waves. Not you. Hey, you. He's just crude.
I will declare this now, Oz. This will come up again later. Big Ern McCracken, it could be the best movie villain of all time.
Oh, I could definitely see it.
Yes.
There's not an ounce of soul in the man.
No. He's remorseless. He's cruel.
He's narcissistic.
Selfish.
Extremely selfish. And manipulative with his selfishness.
Yes.
There's not a single positive trait.
No. No redeeming qualities to Big Ern McCracken.
He cannot lose with grace. He cannot win with grace.
No.
I am above the law.
Yeah. As he declares at the end.
Right. I could see it definitely. A lot of people want to plug Darth Vader into the number one
Darth
spot.
Vader, ooh, whatever. No,
right.
Big Ern McCracken is cinema's greatest film villain.
I second that, because there's one thing Big Ern can do that Darth Vader cannot, and that's lure you in.
Yes. Which he
Ern
does.
will lure you in multiple times.
So they show up at a local alley pretending to be dictionary salesmen, and basically they're trying to run this con on these locals. Turns out they've been had. They're about to leave. Yeah. They're in the car, and Roy steps out. The locals surround him. He steps out. Ern jumps right back in and takes off. Just leaves Roy there, surrounded by these half a dozen guys.
Yeah. Sometimes a man's got to just face the music. And so, Roy just, like you said, gets out of the car and Ern. But
and you are that man.
Yeah. As he just jumps the curb. He can't get out of there fast enough.
And so this group of people who were just conned by them, they grab Roy and they bring him back into the alley, and the way that they are going to hurt him is to take his hand, and they do so by shoving it into the ball return.
Do you think the two bowling alley employees in this scene have? Surely they've got to have some sort of minor prosthetics added, because
the guy with the teeth,
these I would hope so, because they are the mousiest looking people, just rat faced, and I feel bad, but that's Farrelly's, we want to make somebody uncomfortable to look at, even if we'll get to that with the landlady, but
oh god,
but it's just enough that working at a bowling alley is not bad enough. We got to make you just a little physically uncomfortable to look at.
Extra scummy. So, speaking of the landlady, there's a great dissolve from Roy's hand being shoved into the ball return to cut to 17 years later, and in Scranton, Pennsylvania, not Philly, as I mentioned earlier, and some tree branches going into a wood chipper.
Right. Yeah. You get the gist of what they've been doing to him.
So 17 years later, Roy now has a hook for his hand. He puts it right through his alarm clock when it goes off in the morning. It's a Beautiful Morning plays on the radio.
Right.
There's an empty bottle of Jack next to the bed. You kind of see that Roy has fallen on hard times. And it all went back to his hand getting taken.
Yeah. Bowling hand.
Mm-hmm. It is. And he now has a rubber prosthetic hand.
Yeah.
He still has the big ring. He still has the ring he won. His state championship ring. I love, by the way...
The ball return didn't get that.
I love the recurring gags in this movie about the hand.
Oh, I do too. Yeah.
It goes back and forth between people looking at the ring and people pointing out it's a rubber hand, and they're always wrong.
Every time he wants them to address the ring, it's the hand, and vice versa.
Is that solid gold? No, it's made of rubber.
Well, how do you think I got this? Well, that's a rubber hand. The ring.
So Roy is, he has not been paying his rent to the landlady, played by the one and only Lynn Shay.
Oh, I love Lynn Shay. Love Lynn Shay.
So she runs out, she's screaming at him through her cigarette. Roy is now trying to sell bowling supplies to keep to keep the lights on, and he goes to a local alley. He's trying his best to sell things that this alley owner clearly doesn't need. And behind him, he hears a strike. He doesn't see it, Oz. He hears it. And he turns around and is greeted by a very large Amish man. Ishmael is there. Southpaw lefty. He says he averages 265, 270.
Yeah, which is solid.
Pretty
For
good.
those of you that don't
Pretty
understand
good.
bowling, 300's a perfect game. So an average, that's pretty good.
Yeah. If the first number in somebody's game is a 2, they're really, really good, let alone closer to the 3. So, let's see. Roy follows Ishmael back to his Amish community. Says it could be something special, but Ishmael doesn't give in. You know, this is my life. Sorry.
Yeah.
So Roy goes back home. He sees that his landlady is being mugged, Oz, and he saves the landlady by throwing a hot cup of coffee at the mugger's face.
Right in his eyes.
And she's grateful. In fact, you hear the sizzle sound when the coffee hits the mugger in the face. So she's grateful. Oh, about that rent. I know you're good for it, Roy. You pay me when you're ready.
Roy. Don't you worry, Mr. Munson. I know you're good for it.
Cuts to Roy inside with the mugger, so the whole thing was a con they ran on her.
Because the mugger, he's got to go to the bathroom and he needs something to read.
Yeah, here's a bottle of shampoo. I already read this one.
Read that.
Oh, and also,
ladies and gentlemen, this was before smartphones, obviously.
Yes. So Roy also has a tea kettle going, and he's like, and the mugger is like, that coffee was really hot, and Roy's like, you think that's hot?
Right.
And of course, at that moment, the landlady walks in, and she sees them. Clearly, sees they're in cahoots.
She's got like a bottle of wine or something. Like, she was really, really thankful for him saving her.
So, of course, Roy responds, trying to play the con again, throws the tea kettle water in the guy's face. He falls out the window. But, it doesn't go over her head this time, Oz. And she says, there's only one way we can pay this off right now. And then we get a little montage of The Graduate.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Simon and Garfunkel, the leg up.
Yeah.
And,
she's pulling her stocking up over her varicose veins.
With Roy in the background, basically just slouched over the toilet. And what I think is the most disgusting vomiting scene I've ever seen in a movie. Right. He's just... Bleh.
It's the other end of the spectrum of Team America World.
Yes, it's not just cone spraying everywhere. It's like a giant chunk of Crisco that just falls out of his mouth.
It's exactly like it's just to hear it. It's you think about it even a moment too much, and you're like, how did that come out of you? Like, how wide is your esophagus for all of that to come up in solid form? Yeah. But yeah, it's pretty gross.
Yeah. Because we're a PG show, I won't repeat a couple of the lines that she says.
No.
They are quite amusing, we'll say.
But there is your incentive to go watch Kingpin.
Yep. So Roy decides, I got nothing left to lose. He goes back to the Amish community. He goes back to find Ishmael, and he pretends to be Amish. He gets himself in with his family. He tries to do some chores, Oz. I'm passing through town here on my way back to Ohio. So I'm going to go milk your cow for you.
Yeah. I'll help you raise this barn.
Yeah.
Things like that. I'm going to go, where's brother? It's along the lines of like, Brother Roy, or what did he call himself?
Brother Roy.
Was it Roy?
I think
Brother Roy couldn't make it, and then they go to leave in their horse and buggy, and Roy's like, got up and took the liberty of milking your cow for you. Well, we don't have a cow. As he's taking a big drink out of the pail.
Yeah, he's got the milk mustache.
Right? He's just chugging it straight from the pail. We don't have a pile. We have a bowl.
I'm going to go brush my teeth.
Like that's a full
that could be a if we wanted to go into more detail about things, but
like that is a full bucket.
Like that bull might need to go to the vet.
Yeah.
Either that or he's ready to stud.
Well, he was ready.
And there, folks, is your weekly animal husbandry 101.
There you go.
That's
right. Right. There you go. You're welcome.
There's a barn raising, as Oz mentioned, and of course the lunch bell rings and he just drops the pole, and thereby he leaves and the barn falls down. Yes,
he tries to quote the Bible when they call him out on it.
Yeah, well,
you know what they say in the Bible about not forgiving people. You shouldn't.
Yeah,
it's like something like that.
So it turns out, Oz, that Ishmael's father says that we met with the bank today and they're gonna take the property. They're gonna take the farm. We owe them $500,000. So Ishmael decides, you know what? Roy proposes. There's this bowling tournament in Reno, $1 million prize. We'll split it 50-50. Yep. And Ishmael's like, I got to do it. I got to do it. I got to save the family. He does promise Miss Rebecca, though, that he won't be corrupted. So
no, and he does, and he's not.
Yeah, just like Roy promised his dad that he would be a kind, decent person.
Right.
And so they're on the road, Oz. They're on the road to Reno. We get into the standard '90s Farrelly Brothers trope of a road trip. They stop and throw a couple of practice games at a local alley on the way, and Ishmael isn't performing. And Roy's like, you told me you had a 270 average. Well, that's over 15 frames. We Amish, we have to do everything, plus a half that you do.
Yeah. Yeah. We don't bowl 10 frames. We bowl 15.
Yeah. We got to work harder than you. So Roy threatens to leave him. They end up staying together because Ishmael says, I'd sooner than get Munson out here in the middle of nowhere. Another great running gag in this movie. Somehow Roy Munson's last name has become like a vernacular. It's become like a 90s version of a meme.
Right, without him ever knowing it.
Yeah.
Somehow, it's wormed its way into Amish Pennsylvania, and he still has, Roy himself has never heard the term until now.
Well, is that a verb in this context? I'm trying to get my English language here. Munson.
It is.
Yes.
I don't want to get Munsoned.
Oh, and then we got some more road trip stuff. They try to run a hustle on some folks, Oz. And
that's one thing that I think is complete. I love it in movies when and I'm not going to go on too long, but when talented actors have to act like they don't know how to act. I love it. Because Ern does it a couple of times, and of course Randy Quaid just nails it. It's just, I don't know. I think it's probably challenging too to act like you don't know how to act.
Yeah,
when clearly that's what you're doing.
But you have to reverse engineer your whole process, I guess.
Right.
So they end up at a mansion. So there's a guy there, rich guy. He's got a private bowling alley, and they see right through the con and you want to bowl for money or not? And they're like, okay, we're in. And it turns out that this rich guy Stanley seems to be wearing a lot of eyeshadow. Stanley. He does. I noticed that. A lot of eyeshadow, a lot of eyeliner. Very smoky eyes.
But really, for no reason. He's just your typical greasy, handsome bad guy, and then he's just got eyeliner. It's all right, whatever.
Yep. Turns out that one of the tricks he pulls to help make sure that his opponents get distracted is to trot out his incredibly good-looking girlfriend, Claudia, played by Vanessa Angel. She makes sure that Ishmael and Roy see her, although Ishmael doesn't seem to take notice.
Nope.
He's not interested.
No, she's not built like an Amish woman, so...
Mm-hmm. So, Ishmael wins. They went around, and Roy says, "You know what? We'll take the money and get out of your hair." And Stanley notices he's got a wad of cash and wrapped in Monopoly money, so they go after him. Stanley also had gotten upset at Claudia. She kind of cut him down at one point. took her into the other room and hit her. And so
that's a no.
Yep. Claudia turns out
even in the 90s, you shouldn't do that.
No, even in the 90s.
Even in the late 1900s, it was a no.
So they all end up escaping together. Ishmael, Roy, and Claudia get in the car and they take off. So Roy and Claudia don't get along very well, Oz. They both believe the other person is just trying to use Ishmael, which they kind of are.
Kinda.
They're both kind of cut from the same cloth. And so they don't trust each other. They see a lot of each other in the other person, and yeah. And they both kind of take a liking to Ishmael and his naivety. So they both kind of want to be his guardian angel and protect Ishmael from the other.
They want to look out for him, and yeah.
Yeah. So eventually, after... I'll just briefly mention there's an interesting Roger Clemens cameo here.
Yeah, I know. He apparently, it's been confirmed he's related to Seabass in Dumb and Dumber.
Yes,
played by Cam Neely.
Cam Neely, yes, another at the time Boston athlete.
Yeah,
because the Farrelly Brothers are from, I think, Providence, Rhode Island, in the greater New England area.
That's the closest you got. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Where Brett Favre pops in something about Mary, who knows? But whatever.
Yeah, I don't know where he came in there. They had their fill of New England athletes.
That was it, just those two. Tom Brady turned them down, so.
So they're all three, Roy and Claudia are just back and forth at each other, and finally Roy wakes up Ishmael in the middle of the night at a hotel and says, we're going to get out of here. Like, we're better off without her, and he kind of tricks Ishmael a little bit, and they get to the car, and Claudia's there waiting. She knew it was going to happen.
Yep.
So Roy and Claudia get into an interesting fight in the parking lot. A very physical fight.
Yeah. A very, slapsticky, over-the-top physical fight.
Yes, we'll put it that way. Ishmael ends up leaving. During the middle of the fight, he leaves.
Leaves him a note.
Yeah, he does, because he's polite like that.
Yeah, he's just a nice guy.
Roy and Claudia end up spending more time together, because they have to. They end up going through Roy's hometown. He kind of reminisces. He's ashamed that he's let down his father and his community. And they start to kind of form a bond here, Oz. They kind of start seeing through each other and extending some trust.
Yeah, once Roy becomes a little more vulnerable,
yes.
I think Claudia's just, for lack of a better word, maternal instincts kick in and realizes that, he's got a heart,
Mm-hmm.
As does she. So they help each other here.
They catch up with Ishmael. They find him dancing on stage at a roadhouse / gentleman's club.
Yep, as you do.
Yep. So Ishmael keeps giving into more depravity as well. They end up in Reno, Oz. They're there. They get there. As they're walking in, they meet a character known only in the credits as the Gambler.
It's not Kenny Rogers.
Not Kenny Rogers. Not this time. The Gambler, played by Chris Elliott, skipping around a little bit in the timeline just to begin and end the Chris Elliott arc. At one point, Roy is down on his luck, and he has a dream sequence in which the Gambler comes up and offers Roy $1 million to have an evening with his friend Ishmael. I love Chris Elliott.
Because earlier Ishmael had thrown some dice on the craps table and ended up winning him a ton of money. So it's not just this random. He pops in for that reason in his imagination.
Probably not doing that sequence justice, but I love Chris Elliott.
Oh yeah.
So they get settled in, and who do they see, Oz? Who pops back in 17 years later?
Big Ern McCracken at the salad bar.
Yep, he's there signing it. He's talking. He's giving an interview to someone, and as he's giving the interview, he signs an autograph for a woman. And then while he's on camera and the mic is still picking it up, he gives his room number without her asking. By the way, I'm in room 212.
He's so slimy, man.
He is. He's so great. And he sees Munson, and he's like, "Oh, I don't remember twisting your arm when we were at that bowling alley. Oh, I just had twisted your arm to Munson.
Look what I did."
Ishmael goes to punch McCracken. He misses, breaks his hand on the wall, Oz, And,
yeah.
and before getting into the plot points, one of my favorite sequences is I was watching this movie with Patreon subscriber Melissa L. This was the one point in the movie that I ran back again. After Ishmael goes to punch and misses, he yells to Claudia what his room number is, of course.
Yeah.
Because they have a history together, of course.
Yes.
And then McCracken...
Is it when he's running away?
There's a sequence of him running away, and it's there's no way I can describe this properly in podcast format, but it's like a cartoon. He like skips on his feet, and he leans one way, leans the other, and
you get the feeling that like if there were a cliff, he would have ran over it and then levitated until he noticed he was above nothing and then fallen.
Exactly.
Like it's very Wile E. Coyote-esque.
Yes, very Warner Brothers. And again, best movie villain ever. Big Ern McCracken. He just runs away like a weasel, but he does it like he's in a Warner Brothers cartoon.
And nobody's even chasing him. Like he
just runs off.
He's running off in the same way that he sped off in the car. Basically, back in '79. Like, I just gotta get out of here.
He's such an awful person, and he's so great.
And it's so like just improvised.
Yes.
Like,
yeah. So Stanley, Claudia's boyfriend, tracks her down, threatens to hurt Roy and Ish. They're not there, so it's just Claudia. And so she basically just tells him a lie. I was going to leave those guys anyways. I got $42,000 that we made on the road. Let's just go. Let's get back together. And so they do. They go. Claudia leaves with Stan. And Roy and Ishmael are beside themselves. What are we going to do? We're here in Reno. Yeah. We got no money. She took it all. And Ishmael tells Roy, you're going to bowl.
You got to do it.
You're going to do it. As they're sitting at the bar pondering this, they look up at the TV.
Oh man!
And the other McCracken sequence. Okay, there's so many of them, but I should say another McCracken sequence. It's him in a commercial, some kind of philanthropic commercial.
Yeah,
giving back to youth.
Yeah, giving back to single mothers and their children.
So it's basically it's McCracken and 4 hot moms and their kids.
Yeah. I noticed this time, I'd never noticed before, that at the end, when the kids are all in front and Ern's in the middle and the 4 moms are around him, he's got his arm around and on like the thigh of, like his left arm is around and on the thigh of one of them, but his right arm is around the waist and like partial, like Al Bundy down the front pants of the other one.
I didn't notice that.
I didn't either till this one, but like he's like up to the knuckles. He's not doing anything.
Yes,
but his hand is like
he's
in her belt line.
He's welcomed himself in. He's shown himself in. Yeah,
and it's like just such a creep, man.
Some of the great lines in this little bit. One of the kids. Sometimes I wake up in the morning and Mr. McCracken's already there.
Like when he's calling out the cadence. When he's going to stab the ball. And,
he's about to take a snap from one of the moms who's just bent over in front of him. And he's like, go run a fly pattern, go further.
Yeah. Little deeper. As he lifts up her skirt and snaps it onto her back. Like,
he says these kids nearly got Munson.
Oh man!
But through the unified fund, if you give a little, you get a whole lot more in return. Such a sleazeball.
Oh my gosh! Just disgusting human being.
So Roy's in the tournament, Oz, and they walk into the bowling alley with Disco Inferno playing. He takes a slice of pizza from a guy just like he did in Iowa, and the guy's like, "Hey, what are you doing?"
He takes it back from him.
Yeah. So the tournament starts, and McCracken's ball is like it's like an amber, kind of see-through amber, transparent with a rose in it. It's so great. And
Roy's got 1,000 to 1 odds to win this.
Yes, thing. Literally 1,000 to 1, and like the worst of the others was like 40 to 1 or something like that.
Right? Yeah, everybody has a chance, but Roy.
Yes, and so we get an amazing montage of them bowling. How flamboyant and theatrical Big Ern McCracken is as he bowls. Yeah, he's right-handed. He just sticks his left arm way out, and
well, when he'll bowl and then stop and listen like Hulk Hogan.
Yeah,
Just,
he has an unnecessarily large back brace on with this, with an oversized glove on his bowling hand.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Oh, it's so great. And eventually, Oz, they both end up in the finals.
Yep.
They both end up in the finals. The press has dubbed Roy the Rubber Man for his rubber hand. So a little thing that gets dropped in there that might just come back at the very end of the movie. They start. Was it ELO is playing throughout? I forget the name of the song. Oh, it's such a great song.
Showdown.
There we go. Thank you. Showdown is playing. Such a great song to play over this.
It's perfect in this role here.
Yep.
Fits this like a glove.
There's a little sequence where you do hear the actual play-by-play guy this time because ESPN is covering this.
Yeah, right. Chris Berman's on. These guys are showing up now.
And and of course McCracken has everybody duped, despite how smarmy he is. Like what a great role model for America's kids. Like
this really busty lady comes up to give Roy a kiss. And
yes.
He's kind of put back by it. Security's trying to usher her out, and then Big Ern comes up, to give her a kiss. And then as he's patting her away, he's got his hand there on her bust. He's like, he's only doing it to cop a feel.
Oh yeah, and while the announcer's like, "Oh, what a gentleman."
He'll do anything for his fans.
Yeah. So it's McCracken's hair is another thing in the sequence.
Oh my god!
By the way, I'm tearing up from laughing. I think So his hair just gets more and more disheveled throughout until it's the point that it's just everywhere, pointing in every direction, flopping back and forth in the breeze there. It's the 10th frame, Oz.
It's such a sweaty game.
It is. Yeah, you really work up a sweat here. So we're on the 10th frame, and Roy is leading by 29. Or no, actually, we're going into the 10th frame. I just got ahead of myself. Opens with a 7-10 split.
Yeah.
First ball, 7-10 split. McCracken gives an amazing, heinous chuckle. just this weaselly laugh. Ishmael's brother arrives and leaves. So Ishmael he's gone. But Roy doesn't see it in the meantime. And Roy picks up the 7-10 split, much to McCracken's slack-jawed response. With his third ball in the 10th frame, he gets a strike, so he's up 29. So it's all down to McCracken. He's got to get 3 straight strikes to win. And he gets a strike on the first one, gets a strike on the second, and McCracken wins. Bowls the turkey, 3 straight strikes. He wins.
I'm sure you read it. I'm sure you read it, but Bill Murray legit got 3 strikes in a row on this scene, and so a lot of the crowd reaction was genuine because
he got a genuine crowd pop.
He just did it.
Yeah. So McCracken goes to shake Munson's hand, pulls it off, throws it into the crowd. You hear the announcer, "Oh, some lucky fan has a souvenir."
And they make sure they stress that winner wins $1 million.
Yes.
Second place gets nothing.
Yeah. So
winner take all.
Basically, fast forwarding to the end. Roy's back in Scranton. No Claudia, no Ishmael. He's sitting there. He's dumping all of his liquor into the sink, and Claudia walks in. So I ditched Stanley. I'm here. I got the money. We bet against you. The 42 turned into 84. And Roy says, "You know what? I don't need it. A prophylactic company is giving me $500,000 to be their spokesman for being the rubber man." And they both go to Ishmael's farm, and they give him and his family the $500,000 check to pay off the bank. Roy and Claudia share a kiss. And with that, Oz, we But Anyway by Blues Traveler plays. I know, right? And over the end credits, we see some Amish people dancing.
Yeah. Thought it was funny. It's now I understand why the Amish community had run out of money, because they needed to pay for things, yet they paid Blues Traveler to come play on their farm.
Yep. Here we're there.
Yeah, so There you go.
Yeah. And that, folks,
Oh.
is 1996's Kingpin. At this point of the show, Oz and I each give our own unique rating to the movie we've been talking about. Oz, how would you rate Kingpin?
I'm gonna give this a turkey. This is getting 3 strikes in a row.
3 strikes in a row? Yep, makes sense. I'm going to give this one 15 frames of bowling.
Oh, there you go. They get 1.5 times a normal man.
Yep, that's what the Amish
Nice.
got to do. Next up in the bit here is Outside Insight, where Oz and I each share an unprofessional review we found somewhere in the interwebs and laugh at the hilarity that they present. Oz, what is your Outside Insight?
My outside insight is a 1-star review by Eli found on Letterboxd. And I had to read, the only reason I picked this one is mainly because I had to read it 2 or 3 times to really, you'll get it in a second. Whoever created this movie is not a funny.
Not a funny?
Not a funny.
Okay.
I only laughed at a fart and a pee joke. Bill Murray was awful in this, and thank God Wes Anderson turned his career around. Now, the first time I read this, I read it as Bill Murray was awful in this, and thank God Wes Anderson turned his career around. I then Googled Kingpin Wes Anderson because I thought, was Wes Anderson involved in this somehow? It took me a couple readings before I realized what they were tying to, that Wes Anderson turned Bill Murray's career around.
Yes, yeah, not Wes Anderson's career around.
I did. I'm like, Bill Murray was awful, and thank God Wes Anderson turned his career around. I'm like,
Yeah.
Wes Anderson wasn't even involved in this.
Wes Anderson was one of the goons with Roger Clemens' skid mark.
Yeah, he was the real mousy looking guy at the first bowling alley. So 1-star review by Eli, because whoever created this was not a funny.
No, not a funny, not in the least.
It's not a Sunday comic. So,
All
right, what about you? What do you
my
got?
Outside Insight comes from Damian Phelps 3, posted just a few months ago, January 2022 on IMDb. I have learnt from watching this film that I can't stand Bill Murray. I used to like his stuff, Ghostbusters and Stripes and Groundhog Day, but now I find his body gyrating humor irritating. Like Jim Carrey, when a comedian has nothing to contribute, they just act zany to cover up the cracks. And Bill Murray's cracks are showing. 6 out of 10. 6 out of 10.
I give this a fairly positive review.
Yeah.
Oh man, what a dunce.
Yeah, but I now find his body gyrating humor irritating. With the movies he mentioned, Groundhog Day was 3 years before Kingpin.
Yeah.
However, Damian Phelps 3 only found this movie a couple of months ago. So.
Right. Yeah, mine was fairly recent too, April 13th of 2021.
Okay.
So It's nice to see that people are still discovering Kingpin.
Yeah, as they should.
Now, that gives me hope that in, about 25 years, people will start discovering our podcast and start listening. And
they'll get there.
We're on the road to 20,000.
On the road to 20,000. And folks, we're at the moment you've all been waiting for, our signature Let's Talk About Flicks segment, the 3-2-1, in which Oz and I each share 3 goods, 2 bads, and 1 about the movie in discussion. In this case, 96's Farrelly Brothers, Kingpin. Oz, what are your 3 goods?
My first good is just the joke timing and delivery of the cast delivering the jokes. Some of my favorite jokes in here, real quick, are when Roy is trying to get Ishmael out of the hotel so they could bail on Claudia, and he's giving him this line about how there's the military, the military's come in and there's a big cloud of, and then he sees Claudia and he says the S word, which Ishmael goes. He's thinking, he's telling the people behind, watch out, everybody, there's a big poop cloud coming.
Run for your life.
Right? And then there's another one where Roy's flossing his teeth in the mirror. No, not the one where Ishmael's flossing as well.
Oh, yeah.
But the first one where Roy's flossing, and Ishmael goes, what you doing, Mr. Munson? And Roy goes, flossing. And then Ishmael goes, flossing? But where'd I get Munson? And just it's we don't have a cow, it's a bowl joke. I mean, they're just they don't move the plot along at all. They're just in there for the joke's sake, and they're funny. I guess it kind of goes against, like we were talking about last week, of just the scattershot jokes that Talladega Nights had. Yeah. But this was just more surgical in their joke delivery.
Yes, yeah, I would say so.
and I just found them very funny. The second one I mentioned earlier, the soundtrack to this movie is very solid.
Oh, it's great.
Yes, it's very mid '90s esque, but that, like you said, the ELO, showdown. They did a great job with the soundtrack to this movie. And third, really just a testament to the majority of the Farrelly Brothers movies, that despite their very simple plot structure, the Farrellys are pretty good at injecting heart into their films.
Yes.
There's usually some sort of redemption arc, some redeeming quality, and so they are good at balancing things out, so it's not just wacky stupidity all the way through. So those are my three goods. How about you?
I actually had the movie has heart as one of my possible goods as well.
Oh, that's nice.
Aww. My three goods. Woody Harrelson. Woody Harrelson is great, and he honestly, I think, is really where the heart in the movie comes from.
Oh, absolutely.
It's his redemption arc. It's it's kind of a tried and true narrative, but it works because Woody Harrelson is so good and he sells the character and the plot so well, and you see the rise and the crash and the rise for, like the phoenix again to his character.
Right.
So yeah, number one, Woody Harrelson. Number two, let's go with the hair in the movie. Roy's awful comb over. Ishmael's like exaggerated, not a bowl cut, but like a very very simple haircut. And then, of course, Big Ern McCracken, especially during the finale scene, where his hair is just everywhere. And again, it's such a visual gag that podcast format, not doing the joke justice, but it is a treat if you see it. And my last good, as I mentioned before, it is completely worth mentioning again, best movie villain ever. Big Ern McCracken and Bill Murray's performance. It is one for the ages, folks. He's everything you want in a villain, in all of the best ways. Yeah.
So. And I love the villains that aren't like outwardly villainous, like a Big Ern McCracken, obviously the villain, but he fits in. You could Biff Tannen from Back to the Future, and it's similar. Like they feel larger than life, but not David Goliath like.
Yes,
like they can be had. But they're not so indomitable force that it takes like a Vader or a Predator or something like that. Like, they could be had, but they're human, and so I agree. I think Big Ern McCracken for sure. I like your third good.
As that brings us to our bads. What are your two bads?
Really, aside from the four actors I mentioned and the characters, and we'll throw Chris Elliott in there too. The majority of the cast are not that great at acting. Like they're you don't see them in other things. They are what they are, and so
also one of my possible bads as well.
Yeah. So it's like our big four really carry the movie. And I'm glad that the focal point is on those. My second bad, and this was hard to come up with, but towards the end of the movie when he's trying to enter the tournament, it finds out he's behind on his dues for what was it, 25 years? Yeah. 25 years back on his dues, and it only cost him $38, something like that. Or $60, whatever it was. But so my second bet is how does the professional bowling organization stay alive if their dues are just a couple bucks a year? Are there that many professional bowlers that we're going with quantity over the amount that we're pulling from? But no, that was my second bad, is how are they going to survive on just a couple of bucks of dues a year? Yeah. I was really scraping the bottom of the barrel for a second bad.
I know, it's I only had two down and you took one, so I'm going to come up with one on the fly. One of my bads is I don't want to like Randy Quaid. Randy Quaid is a kook.
Randy Quaid, Randy Quaid, the actor, is
Randy Quaid, the person, is a kook, and so I feel dirty laughing at laughing so hard at his performance in this movie.
I don't, but is he recently kook, or has he always been a kook?
I think he's kind of always been a kook, but it's really become more exaggerated in the last 10 years or so.
Yeah, I know lately it's just been you're off the deep end, but yeah. You got Cousin Eddie in there too, but we're not laughing at Randy Quaid. We're laughing at Ishmael.
Correct. We're laughing at Ishmael. I'll go with my other bad, the bit with, let's say the bit with Roy's watch. I thought was forced. I'm really scraping here. It was supposed to be one of those, like sentimental things, and it, yeah. That little bit, that little nugget, didn't go anywhere.
Right. Fair enough.
Yep. All right, Oz. What's your huh?
My huh is if I'm the marketing director of a prophylactic company and I'm trying to exude sexiness and whatever, am I really pulling a professional bowler as my spokesman?
Like that big odor eater's mascot.
Yeah, like if I'm trying to sell more prophylactics, am I really reaching out to a professional bowler to get my message across? Mm-hmm. Yes, he's the rubber man, but come on, you gave him $500,000 for that.
He's good at his job, Oz. You give him some credit.
I think arguably Big Ern would probably be a better mascot, a better spokesman for what you want to do with your company. So that's my is that's the spokesman you could pull. Mm-hmm. How about you?
Of all people to have a double role, have two roles in a movie, John Popper from Blues Traveler. Yeah. I mean, he's as himself, as an Amish version of himself, I guess, at the end of the movie over the credits playing the song. But then he's also the announcer at the big bowling tournament in Reno.
It's not fair, but John Popper has always reminded me of Otho from Beetlejuice. Like, I don't know why.
I see that completely.
I know. I mean, I know they're separate people, but he's always reminded me of Otho.
Yeah, you are completely on the nose there. All right, hey Oz, what do we got in store next week for our loyal listeners?
We are going to wrap up Sports Comedies Month, and we're going to go off the court, off the field, off the track, and we're going to go to the sidelines, where we are going to dedicate the final week of Sports Comedies Month covering everyone's favorite spokesman, the mascot, as we're going to watch I believe it's a Netflix original Christopher Guest directed movie called Mascots, starring a lot of familiar faces to the Christopher Guest cast of stars, as well as some new faces. And so we will be back next week to cover Mascots in all of its glory. It is a movie I've seen once. I remember it being extremely funny, as all Christopher Guest movies are. But it's improvisational, and it falls in line with your Spinal Taps and your Best in Shows, and it's just great. But it's a uncut gem. It's so good.
And I have not seen it, so I'm looking forward to watching it.
I'm looking forward to sharing it. So we'll be back next week with episode 44, where we cover Mascots. You can catch it on Netflix. I know it is still there. And so that's it for another week of Let's Talk About Flicks.
Good week. Love talking about Kingpin.
I do too. It's such a great movie. And so thanks again for coming out and listening to us. If you've gotten this far, the code for your special download. No, I'm kidding. there's no giveaways at the end of our shows other than well wishes. So thanks a lot for coming and listening to us or watching us wherever you're digesting our content. We got a whole bunch of back catalog stuff you can listen to, and feel free to share it with your friends. You can catch us on social media, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, aforementioned Patreon, which, whatever. But by and large, word of mouth is where we'd love to see our podcast being traveled. So share with your friends, your colleagues, your loved ones. Let them know what you're listening to, and we'd love for you guys to listen to us talk about what we enjoy. So for Let's Talk About Flicks, I'm Oz.
I'm Curtis.
And we'll see you guys next week.